Hello, my dear students. This is Ashok Bhamtani here, and I welcome to you all on our school YouTube channel. And in this video, we are going to continue our class 11th computer science syllabus with the first chapter on the topic based on the computer fundamentals. Since the IP syllabus of class 11th also contains the basics, computer basics, so this video will cover the first chapter of IP syllabus of class 11th also. In this video we are going to discuss what is computer, what are its main components, and what is its basic organization, and what is the hardware and software, and how the different types of hardware and software help us to increase the overall performance of the computer. So without wasting much time, quickly move to the topic. Now, what is basically computers? Computers are the machines that have revolutionized the world around us today. In this modern age, we cannot imagine a life without the emails, internet, printouts, smartphones, playing music, watching movies and videos on the computers or smartphones, clicking and sending the photos in just a click is nowadays a very common thing. In short, we can say that the computers are playing a very important role directly and indirectly in our life in every aspect of it. What basically a computer is, if this question mark comes in your mind, then we can define a computer as an electronic machine that accepts data and instructions from the user and then processes it according to the instructions given to it, finally gives the desired output. It means computer is such a device which helps us to take some quick decisions by accepting the data and then according to the instructions, that is the programs given to it as an input, and it gives you the desired output. Now, if you try to understand the computers, how they are made, so we can say that the computer is a combination of a hardware and a software which makes our task easy and error free. Let us try to understand these two terms, hardware and software. Hardware is the physical and tangible electronic components of the computers which we can touch and see. Example: keyboard, CPU, monitor, printer, mouse, keyboard, etc. On the other hand, softwares are the recorded instructions, that is the programs that govern the working of a computer. A program is basically a set of instructions which are given to carry out a specific task or to achieve a specific work goal. In the coming part of the section, we will going to discuss much more about the hardware and the softwares in detail. Now in this slide I am going to discuss you the basic components of the computer and organized basic computer organization. There are 5 basic main components of the computer. One is the input device, second is the CPU, then third is the output devices, fourth is the primary memory and secondary memory. Let us briefly consider all these in components, what they do. First, input unit. It is the responsible for taking the input for the computer. The input devices attached to the computer's system makes the input unit. Means all the input devices which are attached to the computer makes its input unit, input devices which are responsible for taking input for the computer. Second thing is that the output devices, they are the responsible for the taking the output from the computer. The output devices are attached to the computer will make the output available to the user. Third is the central processing unit, which is responsible for processing of the data and instructions. It comprises of two main things, ALU and control unit, which we are going to discuss more in detail in the coming section of this video. Then computer stores the data in the memory. It means the computer also have a memory part. There are two types of memories in the computers, primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory is basically an internal volatile memory where the data instructions are stored during the processing and they are temporarily stored there. Secondary memory is the memory unit and storage unit, which is external storage devices which are provide the permanent memory to the computer system. It means the data is stored in computer's hard disk or CDs for permanent store, that is known as a secondary memory. We are going to discuss these memory sections again in detail in the coming section of this video. We see that we are going to have computer organization refers to the logical structure of a computer, describing how its components are connected to one another, how they affect one another, is functioning and contribute to the overall performance of the computer. Computer also follows the IPO principle, that is IPO means input, process and output. That is the cycle. It means certain input is processed to generate specific output. So one can understand the basic computer organization as such that there are some components which are taking input in different forms, and there are some components which are dedicated to perform processing, and the some components are producing the output in different forms. The basic computer organization is shown in this slide as follows. You can see there are five basic components. The CPU or a processor with ALU, registers and control unit. There is a input unit, there is output unit, and there is a main storage unit using which you are storing the data, and also the memory. Let's just try to understand these functional components one by one. First, the input unit. The input unit is formed by the input devices attached to the computer. Examples of the input device are the keyboard, graphics tablet, magnetic ink character reader, optical mark reader, or these various examples as you can see on your slides. An input unit is responsible for taking the input and convert it into the computer understandable form, that is called binary code. Since the computer operates on electricity, it can understand only the language of electricity. It means either on or off, or a high voltage or a low voltage. That means the computer can understand two stages, on and off, or a higher or lower voltages, or the binary language that uses just two symbols, one for on and zero for off. Though input data and the instructions are given for the processing. Through input data, the data and the instructions are given for the processing. The input unit is comprised of the various input devices and take the input in the different forms and pass them in the digital form to the CPU for processing. You must be seeing the input devices around us. There are various commonly used keyboards, mouse, etc. Next come your output devices. Output devices are connected to the computer into human readable form. It is the responsible for of a input that is producing the output after processing. The output coming from the CPU is an electronic binary signal which needs conversion in some form and which can be easily understood by the human beings. Example, character graphics not reachable from the functions of these conversions are performed by the output units. Some of the popular output units are monitor, printers and speaker. The central processing unit or a CPU, which is also called the brain of the computer. It is the main control center and the processing unit. It guides and directs, controls and governs the performance of a computer. It has various components that help it to carry out various processes or the tasks. The CPU has the following components: arithmetic and logic unit, control unit and registers. Let us try to understand what these do. The ALU unit of arithmetic and logic unit of a computer performs all the arithmetic and logical operations. The CU is control unit, is acting as a supervisor and controls all the activities and guides the operating taking place. It is that part of the CPU which controls the overall activity of the CPU as well as other components. Now next is the registers. It is the place to store the data temporarily for the purpose of correct calculations. These are the places for holding data temporarily. They are used by the CPU to temporarily hold some important processing informations during the time when the processing is taking place. CPU may store some data part or some other memory addresses or some instructions in these. Now let us move to the main component of your computer system. That memory is basically used to store the data. The primary memory is the main memory which is used here. The primary memory is a place where computer temporarily keeps informations and data to facilitate its performance. Each memory location in a primary memory has a definite address. When the task is to perform, it clears the memory and the memory space is available for the next task to be performed. These memories are when the power is switched off, everything stored in these memories gets erased and cannot be recalled. The memory of a computer can be thought of as cells. Each of these cells can be broken down into smaller parts known as bits. A bit means either a binary digit, either 0 and 1. The number of together bits together is used to store the data and instructions by this combination. The smallest unit, so the unit of the memory is known as bit. However, bit is a very small unit. We take the 8 bits and make 1 byte, and similarly 1024 byte makes the 1 kilobyte, and see on your screen how the other memory, larger memory units can be there on your. Now the main memory is your computer, that is the primary memory of your computer is basically divided into the two types, that is RAM, that is called random access memory, and the second is read only memory. Let us try to understand these memories one by one. In random access memory or RAM, the memory cells can be addressed for the information transfer from any desired random location. That is, the process of locating a word in a memory is the same and require an equal amount of memory, thus the name random access. The only drawback of these types of memory that they are volatile, that is when the power goes off and the contents of this memory get erased. The efficiency of the RAM is decided by its size. Using RAM, one can perform the read and write both operations. ROM is another type of memory that is only for reading operations. ROM is used in situations where we want to know informations to be stored in future. It does not have the write capability. This means that the informations stored in the ROM is to be made permanent during the hardware production of the unit and cannot be alterated by writing the different words into it. Thus, ROM is non-volatile. ROM is basically used to informations which need not to be changed daily or regularly. On the basis of various technologies, there are various types of ROMs which are used in computers. These are the simple ROM, programmable read-only ROM, erasable programmable read-only ROM, and electrically erasable programmable read-only ROM. We are not going to go much in the details of these different types. Now let us try to understand what are the differences between these two memories, random memory access and RAM, and the read-only memory, that is the ROM. We can see from there that the RAM is both has a capability to read the data and to write the data into the memory. On the other hand, read-only memory is only capable to only read the data as possible. RAM is volatile, that is, if the power supply is interrupted or switched off, then the data is lost. Whereas ROM is non-volatile, it maintains the data even when the power supply is not there. Third, the RAM is basically of two types. They are dynamic and static. Whereas they are, according to technology wise, the ROM is are of programmable, erasable, and electrical erasables available. Now, next difference is ROM is used for temporary data storage as it is volatile, whereas ROM is used for permanent data storage and generally for booting instructions of your computer, and it is non-volatile. So these are the 3-4 differences between the ROM and ROM, and they play their important role in the computer system. Now, other than the primary memory or the main memory, the computer needs to store and retrieve the data for processing. Since the primary memory has a limited storage capacity and it is not a permanent, so therefore the other type of memory called secondary storage memory devices are used in your computer system to store the large amount of data permanently. There are various types of secondary devices available these days. The storage capacity of the storage unit is in terms of kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. Some of the commonly used storage devices are hard disks, CD, DVDs, flash memory, pen drive, and Blu-ray disc, magnetic tapes, magnetic cards, or which are commonly used in computer system. Now we are moving to the next part of your topic, that is the softwares. A computer system of itself, and rather it requires instructions for each and everything it performs. These instructions are provided through a special softwares called softwares. The software gives direction to control the various operations. On the basis of the task they perform, the softwares can be defined as into three main categories, that is the system software, application software, and utilities. It is a software that itself makes the hardware to run and perform. Now the question arises, what a software? So software can be defined as follows: that it is a set of programs that govern the operation of a computer system and also make the hardware run, present the software in a computer system. Example of softwares is Windows. It is a Windows which makes your system functional. Similarly, various other softwares are there which can be used for variety of tasks. Now let us move to the first category of these are the different categories of softwares. Computer softwares can be classified into the system softwares, application softwares, and utility softwares. Application softwares is a set of programs necessary to carry out the instructions and operations for the specified application, whereas system softwares are the used for which controls the internal computer operations, and the utility programs are help in maintaining the computer in its performance and the various housekeeping operations. These softwares can also be further categorized into various categories according to the task they perform. We are now in the coming section we are going to learn about these softwares one by one in detail. First is the system softwares. To understand it, we can say that the computer is a machine that knows nothing of itself, rather it requires instructions for each and everything it performs. These instructions are provided through the softwares. The software that controls the internal computer operations is known as the system software. Example, operating system and the language processors. The internal operations may include such as reading data from the input devices, transmitting process information to the output devices, checking system components, and converting the data on instructions to the computer understandable form, etc. These are the tasks which are performed by the system softwares. Their presence is important for running the system. That is, their importance is that they are used for running the system. So they must be present in your system. For example, operating system such as Windows or DOS is the in your computers, and the mobile your Android system is a very important system software using which you can perform the other you can run the other various other tasks. They provide the platform on the which other softwares can run. Let us now try to understand the operating systems and the language processors individually. An operating system is also a primary system software without which you cannot think of a computer system. Even every device has an operating system. Even in your mobiles also, I has already told you that there is an Android or any other operating system. You must have heard the name of these operating systems also. In your computer system there is Windows, DOS, Linux, Unix, and various other operating systems. Our Indian country has also prepared a very good operating system known as BOS, Bharat Operating System Software. The primary goal of this operating system is to make the computer system convenient to use and the secondary goal is to use the computer hardware in an efficient manner. It is one of the most important software in a computer system which controls all other components, and it is a program that acts as an interface between the user and the hardware. It is a program which controls and coordinates the overall use of your hardware among the various application programs for various users, and it plays a very major role to execute the programs. Operating systems helps you in the managing the file management, and doing various other tasks. They are providing you an environment where the users are giving the commands which are processed by them and by the hardware. So they are overall playing a very good and major key role as a just like a manager play in a company. Depending on the type of the task and their working, the operating systems available today are can be classified into various categories. These are single user operating systems, means only single user operating system, single user distributed operating systems. We are going to discuss these more details in your incoming chapter on the operating system in your syllabus. Next is the language processors. Language processors is another special category of system software. Its task is to translate the source code into object code or machine code. Children, do you know what is the source code and object code? Let us try to first understand what is the source code and object code. Yeah, machine code. You must have heard that the computer programming languages such C and C++ and Java. Computer programming language is a method of communicating with the machines. Examples, computers. With the machines, it means computers. To perform any task, we have to give instructions, and the instructions are written in the form of programs using any programming language such as C, C++, or Java. A program written in a programming language is called source code. It is a human understandable form. It means written using simple English words which can be understood by us but not the computer. So it has to be converted into machine understandable form, which is called the object code. So we can say that the object code refers to the code written in the machine language or the binary code that computers can easily understood and run on the hardware. So such a software which does this types of task is known as a translator or a language processor. In simple words, we can say that it is a converter or it is a translator which converting your program written in high level language into the machine form. Every programming language needs a translator with the help of which it can convert its source code into the object code or the machine understandable form. So the translators are very useful in the development of the programs and the softwares. There I have different categories of the language processors or translators according to their working styles. We can broadly classify all the language processors into three main categories. One is assembler, second is interpreter, and the third one is compiler. Assembler is a software which converts your assembly language, that is code written in assembly language, into the machine language. Now children, assembly language is a old language. Nowadays these languages are not preferred, so we are not going into much detail of assemblers. Already you must have heard about these assemblers in lower classes. Now next is the interpreter. It is a software which translate your source code into which translate your source code into the machine understandable code line by line. And compiler is also that type of translator which translate and execute the instructions written in your computer program, but in one go. In the coming slide we are going to discuss about the various details and differences between these two. Now I am going to discuss you about the two different categories of the translators by pros and cons, compare and contrast method. I will going to explain you the compiler and interpreter by telling you the difference between them also and how they are working. A compiler is such a software which converts your whole program at a time. It means it will take your entire code and scan it and read the entire program at a time, and it will convert it into the machine form if it is error free. Remember that if only it is 100% error free, then only it will going to convert, otherwise it will not. Okay, it will produce an error and you have to resolve that error, then only again you have to compile and you have to convert it into. Once the code is converted, then it is ready to run and it is in machine understandable form which can be used directly. On the other hand, interpreter is such a converter which does the conversion line by line. It translates only those lines of your programs which are not having error. Once the error containing line is there, it will stop the translation and does not give you the output. So it is just line by line doing and giving you the output. For example, I have given you to a task of writing the 10 lines on a school. Now every student when gives me, I can do the correction in word and give you marks according to it. If you are if all the your 10 lines are correct, then I give you full mark. And if any 4 lines or 5 lines are correct and remain, if there is an error in the fifth line, I will stop and do not. I will do up to the that particular marks and give you the marks only up to the where you have done. This way, out of 4, if your 4 lines are correct, I am giving you the 4 marks. On the other hand, in either the fully code is converted or you have to convert the you have to make it 100% error free. Number 4, the compiler takes large amount of time to analyze the source code. The interpreter take less time to analyze the source codes. Compilers are more faster once the source code is converted into object code. Interpreters are always slower because every time they convert the source code into the machine code whenever they read. So it takes them much time every time. They require more space. Compiler require the more space for their execution because compiler prepare a separate object file and this object file is stored in the memory, whereas interpreter does not prepare any separate file, so they are not giving you they are not requiring more spaces. Compiler is good for professionals and the interpreter is good for the beginners who are learning programming. Compilers are used in the languages like C, C++, whereas your Python language which you are going to learn in this session is uses the interpreter. Some other languages using the Visual Basic are also using the interpreter. So these are the things on the basis of which we can compare the compiler and interpreter. Now next we'll move to the another important category of the software, that is the application softwares. These are the softwares which is designed for some specific task or some specific work. For example, they can perform the reservation functions, they can prepare the results of a school. These are the software's specific task and to a specific work. The programs written by the programmers to enable the computer to perform specific work such as processing the words, inventory handling, calculation and figures, medical accounting, financial accounting, result preparation, reservation building, etc. means software is made for some specific goal. They are installed on the computer after the installation of the operating system. That is, they need an operating system to for their execution. That is the platform to execute them. Application softwares can also be further categorized into packages used with tools. Let us try to understand these one by one. Packages are the Packages are the softwares that are a special category of softwares in which the certain different performing softwares are together collected or in one bundle. For example, MS Office is a package in which all the different types of working softwares, MS word processing, spreadsheet, database, and various other categories of softwares are included in it. The softwares created according to the business requirements are called business softwares, and also the kind of application softwares. These types of softwares are developed to meet the general requirements of the business. For example, of a point come if company wants to computer in its account department and get software that can serve this. Then we have the customized softwares. These are the softwares which are recording according to the own requirement. If a company is preparing any softwares, then developer tools are the software libraries which are prepared by the software development companies. There is a these softwares are the used by the programmers which develop the software and programs. They have a predetermined set of nodes and functions and classes and scripts available to do the variety of tasks which can be used directly in their code. These predefined counts are called libraries or software libraries. So these are the libraries which can be used. For example, the Python language which we are going to discuss in this class syllabus is equipped with many software libraries such as NumPy, SkyPy and Python pandas. Now utility programs is the last category of the softwares which helps the OS in carrying out certain specialized tasks. For example, antivirus, compression tools, software updates, system cleaning software, disk cleanups, backup software, file management tool softwares are those softwares which are not necessary in your computer, but they help you maintaining and configuring your computer system. These are installed at the same time, but at the time OS, but they can also be added afterwards. So they are very useful for your things. So this with this we come to an end of this chapter, also about the softwares. I hope these things will be contact with your WhatsApp group to me personally. Thank you.